So you lead it. I'll go wherever. I'll be driving as well.
I believe. Right, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Season 10 Prologue for Race Department's F1 Championship. Myself, Jamie Mayers, alongside, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Mike. I am the Race Department PS4 League Coordinator and Season 9 Champion of this very, very prestigious league. And we'll be walking you through the Season 10 preview show for the upcoming season.
Yes, what a season it was last year. Well, I say last year, last month. With Mitchell finally prevailing in the Mercedes. Sean coming a distant second position. And yourself coming third in that one. Disappointed with how that went? Well, obviously, I'm assuming you're very disappointed with how that went, given the fact that you were the champion before.
Yeah, it sounds weird. It sounds bizarre. It'll probably sound really strange to a lot of people for someone who came third to be disappointed with how the season went. But as you say, obviously, the champion the season before didn't really get up to speed, it has to be said, on this game. Affected quite a lot as well by internet issues and electronics issues, which doesn't help. Obviously makes the results look worse than they are. But at the end of the day, I didn't have the speed to challenge the champion, and Mitchell was a very worthy champion. And I think that he's going to be in the hunt again this season. And it's up to me and everyone else to attempt to stop him.
He was indeed. I just wanted to say hello to Drew and Mitchell, who are currently in the stream chat, and hello to everybody else that may be watching from the league. Obviously, if you are watching from the league, do drop a comment in the stream chat. I don't know, send us in some questions. I don't know if we start to ramble on a bit too much. Well, we've got Ash and Sean in as well. Hello. So yeah, I believe what we're going to do is we're going to discuss what's watching Mikey's silky smoothness with some of the AI.
There we are. I'm just trying to figure out how to actually start it, because it seems to say racing, press to cancel, and I want to race. God knows why it wants to do that, but there we go.
Oh god, this isn't your BT internet messing yourself up.
No. This is my BT.
That's all we need.
Brain.
That is all we need. Also, just to bring you guys up to speed, just in case you've not been following the forums or anything, our calendar is going to be slightly different from the one that you would be getting in the real life championship, or indeed last season, because I believe we're following the real life 2018 season in terms of race order. So yeah, races are going to be a little bit out of sync compared to what they were before. For example, we've got Baku in the fourth race. We've got Malaysia at the 8th race, you know, that sort of stuff. A nice little touch that we've added to the season this season.
You might need to become a car here and then quit and become a spectator, because I have a feeling it doesn't want me to just do it on my own. No, become a car.
Well, this is awkward, as I've not been there. How do you choose a car? Since I've not actually
What car?
done
What
this
car
bit.
would you like to be?
Select team or driver. Let's just pick him.
There we go.
Right.
We needed more than one
Does
of
that
us to
work?
be a driver. That's all. No, you have to be the car. You have to be at one with the car. Then you, in the session, just retire or something and become a spectator. I would presume.
Thank you very much for that one, Cody's. See, if this
It
was
is
iRacing,
after all. You...
if I was, you know, if this was iRacing, I would have just been able to spectate that straight away.
Unfortunately, I'm stubborn and I refuse to get iRacing because it is for scrubs, quite frankly.
Wow.
If you want a real racing simulator, then Codemasters F1 2017 is the only way you can feasibly go. And that's an end of it. But obviously, because this is such a great game, we've got 20 brilliant drivers that want to win the championship in Season 10. And so far, I am the only person to have won it twice, so the onus is on Mitchell to repeat that. And I think it's fair to say that obviously Mitchell and Drew coming into this season as Season 9 champions in both the drivers and constructors, they are probably the favourites. Would you not agree?
I'd certainly say so. Obviously, there's some strong names in there, but yeah, the reigning, defending, undisputed champions of Race Department at the moment. They have been a very strong pairing. Drew's certainly a very, very good. He's certainly a very good backup driver to Mitchell. So yeah.
He's probably improved one of the most improved drivers from the start of last season to this season, I'd say. He was having a real struggle with it at the start of the season. Made some changes, probably with Mitchell's help, and that catapulted him up to 7th in the championship. To be honest with you, he probably could have finished higher had he started the season the way that he did.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, he did get caught up in a lot of incidents, certainly at the start of the season. I'm pretty sure I remember Russia. Was that Russia or Spain? I think Hungary was another one. Abu Dhabi was another one. You know, if he just keeps himself out of trouble this season, I don't think he'll be too far off.
No, and obviously with him, you've got Mitchell, the reigning champion, who is certainly my pick to retain his title. He's got the speed, and more importantly now, compared to seasons 8 and 9, he's got the consistency. Season 7 and 8, sorry, he's got the consistency. And I think if he's on form, it'll be very hard to beat.
And yes, this, ladies and gentlemen, is why you do not drive with a pad. Or certainly you don't drive with a pad in
I qualified last. I put the AI on 110 rating to make this almost impossible for me. And I thought I'd do it all short qualifying because we haven't got time to do an entire qualifying session. But at least I'm not last, because obviously a commentator has decided he wants to be last instead, but can then retire and watch me fail. Obviously after Red Bull, you've got the 2 Mercedes for this season, which are no longer Mitchell and Drew, obviously. It's now Sean and Cass who have taken over that seat. Sean's, I would say, the most likely to challenge Mitchell's Drivers' Championship this season. Cass showed some very good speed in the races that he was part of, and I would say that if not the Drivers' Championship this one, the Constructors is a very, very strong shout.
I'd say so. I mean, Cass did a very, very good job. He had 3 podiums last season. Make that 4. He had 4 podiums last season. Didn't start all of the races because obviously I believe he joined as a reserve originally.
He did indeed, yes. Yeah.
But
and as
yeah,
he had some issues at the end of the season which prevented him from actually joining, but still finished where he did. So
yeah.
a very good season in the races that he did, and that's why I think that give him a whole season under his belt with someone like Sean and a really, really solid lineup. The only thing I would say is that if the field is going to be a lot closer this season, with time on game obviously increasing, Sean's ability to get corner cut penalties may well cost him dearly.
Yeah, that was something that I know me and Charlie brought up quite a lot during the season. Last season was his ability to get corner cut penalties pretty much every racetrack that he went to. Certainly cost him several positions and a lot of points that he could have used.
It cost him a lot of points throughout the
Mitchell.
season. Yeah, it cost him a lot of points in the season. It definitely cost him a chance at the title. Mitchell obviously very much the other way, very good at keeping the car between the two lines, and that's one of the things that you need to do to gain those extra seconds to win the title. And so if Sean can improve on that, he's got a good chance, for sure. Cass probably will finish top 5. I reckon this is 2 of the top 5 drivers here, but we will see if they can actually replicate their pace that they've shown throughout the next season.
I think I'll agree with you there. I think Kaz is. I think he's in with a shot of being within the top 5, certainly. Like I said, 4 podiums. Certainly a formidable, pretty quick. So we'll see what the season holds for Mercedes with their new lineup. Just as I drop out the session. Well, drop out the session, drop out the race. Where are you? Up to 12th already. Very good job. In your lovely Scuderia Ferrari.
Which I will be piloting for next season. As I swapped from Red Bull for the first time in quite a long time, actually, that I haven't been in a Red Bull brand car.
I was going to say, it's the first.
If you think back of it, it's always Toro Rosso Red Bull that I sit in.
I was going to say, it's certainly the first time I've seen you at the wheel of a Ferrari, I think, in all of the time that I've known you.
I think I was Sebastian's teammate in season 5 for that very short period of time. Back in 2012, 2013.
Yep, you are right. You are right. I was part of that season as well, if I remember rightly.
You were indeed, as I'm about to get murdered by
All hell is breaking loose. Two Toro Rosso side by side. Lovely move there. Up to 9th place already. Huge train behind you.
Yes, because Hulkenberg tried to kill him. Obviously, my teammate this season is Thomas Glenn, who comes to us from the McLaren team from last season. Probably, to me, the most impressive quote-unquote rookie in the field. I think he did a really good job. Really took us by surprise early in the season with his performances in Australia, where I think he finished 4th.
He did.
And quite early, and I had a really good battle with him in Bahrain before electrical issues halted my car. And I look forward to working with him this season to hopefully gain him some extra places. Obviously, I don't think he expects to finish as high as he did last season with the banning of the racing line. But we will work on that as a pair throughout the season. And obviously, I hope that hopefully at some stage we can get him his elusive podium.
Yeah, I wish him well this season. I know he took a lot of stick from some of the drivers with the driving line.
And the FIA as well. The FIA really didn't like him to drive. There was quite extensive discussions quite late in the season of see if we could keep the racing line on. He's relented, and I wish him the best of luck in learning what is quite frankly a completely new sort of driving style with the racing line. You've got to drive very differently. You've got to drive eyes up rather than eyes down, and I think that it's a much more rewarding way to do it. And I think that if he gets used to it, he's going to be a solid top 10 runner once again. Potentially keeps us out of the World Championship fight. Sergio Perez has a 26.2 somehow.
He is second on track right now. Just to update the order is Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez and Fernando Alonso.
I have got cars on equal, so that's why you've got cars everywhere. I thought that we might as well make it a little bit strange.
Oh, as you nearly die on my screen.
Yeah. In fairness, I've got more traction now in this Ferrari than I did in the entirety of last season in the record, so that's a good sign. As you can vouch watching me, most of last
Mikey,
season
I have no rear grip.
it was painful last season, but there we go. Something that me and Tom can work on again this season, and hopefully, obviously, improve both our cars. And I hope that I can at least win some races. I'm obviously aiming to win the title again. I don't like letting go of things, but right now I don't think I've got the pace to challenge Richard, but we shall see. So obviously that's your top three, like you would be in real Formula 1, Red Bull, Mercedes and Ferrari. Seems like they've re-emerged at the top of the grid like they would in normal Formula 1 start. But then you've got the interesting pairing of the two sort of Renault drivers, which is Guy
Yes,
and
that's
Harry.
quite interesting. I mean,
So Guy I know very well.
Yeah. Guy was your
Being my
teammate for last season.
Yeah, former teammate, know him very well. Really quite a fast driver. One thing he needs to do this season is translate that one lap speed into a race pace. So
Yes,
if he does
he
that,
did.
he's got a real chance of winning a race this season if he can translate that.
Yeah, he did struggle quite a lot with race, but he did get a podium last season. He got a second place in Russia. But other than that, he was quite unspectacular. Quite a few DNFs. I mean, he got 6 DNFs during the season. And
Reliability wasn't Red Bull's forte last season.
yeah, he did get a good finish in Abu Dhabi with a 4th place. But I'm also
Abu
hoping
Dhabi
that
was a good performance from him. He very nearly outqualified me. Surprised himself, I think, but also in some ways felt like he'd earned that sort of speed. And that's why I think that this season, alongside Harry, who, when on form again, is a potential race winner, I think the Renaults will be the surprise. Quite frankly, very surprising. I think that they will give a lot of good performances if they can stay in the race. Obviously, Harry, as we both know, does also have an allergy to finishing races as well.
I was just going to bring that up. He had 8 DNFs last season. Not all of them his own fault. He disconnected from a couple. But yeah, like you said, and I'd like to see them be a lot more consistent next season, because, like you said, they have shown signs of very good pace, but at the same time, you know, you've got to keep it on the track and keep it out the barriers to score the points, and speed just ain't going to cut it a lot of the time.
No, especially with the calibre of driver that you're around as well. I mean, these two are probably on their day top 100 as well. One small mistake and you're going to be 6th or 7th, and it's a really fine line. But they both have the ability. Harry has proven it by being a champion elsewhere. Guy was proving it towards the tail end of last season. He really picked the pace up. I would argue, being his teammate, that at the start of the season, compared to the pre-season form, quite disappointing, actually, in terms of his results. Probably quite a few people expected more from him. But this season, I think, on his own team with someone like Harry, they can really work together. They will be impressive, and they could be an outside shot for a win. Probably not the constructors' title or the drivers' title, but certainly there or thereabouts.
I'll go with that. I think next is Williams.
Williams, certainly.
Williams with Gattis, former Ferrari driver, and Martin, former McLaren driver. He was another one that disappointed me quite a bit last season, I've got to say. I expected him to be a lot further up than he was. Certainly, I'd hoped that he would finish more races.
There's Martin.
Yes, I mean his highest finish was 4th place, then a 5th, and then yeah, he didn't do much. I mean, to be fair,
very similar to Tom.
Yeah.
So very good start, very strong start of the season.
And he just sort of fell off. But I am hoping that he gets rid of the sort of rage quit mentality, gets rid of all of the first lap sort of crashes that he used to get involved in, really knuckle down, and prove to everybody that he still has what it takes. Because certainly a few seasons ago, he was quite.
He was there with Mitchell.
He was quite up there with Mitchell. He was, yeah.
So they've sort of gone two ways. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is Martin not a pad user?
I believe so.
So you've got two pad users in the Williams team.
He might have, because I have remembered him talking about getting a place or something. So he may not be a pad user anymore.
Maybe that will change for them. Also, two pad users in the same team, as I get a yellow flag behind it. So
oh, that's Hulkenberg off the track.
Oh, dive from it.
I missed that.
So you've got two pad users, they'll be able to work together well, and obviously, hopefully, Mazias, I think, is someone who really went under the radar last season. So he finished solid, well, comes into the season as the 4th ranked driver, so just behind me. Wasn't too far off the top of the table, probably about 50 points, which sounds like a lot, but for someone who wasn't spectacular, a really solid and consistent season.
He actually surprised me, I'm not going to lie. He pulled out some
positively or negatively?
Results. Positively. He pulled out some pretty good results. I mean, he had three podiums on the trot: Europe, Austria, and Silverstone, and then he actually won in America, didn't he? And I really wasn't expecting that, especially with the caliber of drivers like Mitchell, yourself, Sean, Michael, who's no longer racing with us. You know,
but will be your partner next season? I think we should probably tell everyone that, the fact that we can exclusively reveal that for some events next season, in a very sort of American ABC versus NBC style, Shelley, Michael Fleming, will be joining Jamie Lee Mayers in the commentary box for some of the events next season. And I'm sure that he will probably get a little bit jealous of the fact that he's not out there driving, but also enjoy watching it as well, as we all did last season. There were some really, really fun events.
They were. I mean, I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did last season. I mean, we had some, myself and Charlie had some terrific fun watching some of the battles that you guys used to get. So
it was certainly interesting to watch it back from a driver's perspective when you finish and you just spent 40-50 minutes in whatever view you're in, and then suddenly you sit from the outside and you think, so that's what happened there, or you see everything in a more broadcast mode. It was really fun to watch, really, really good fun.
Hopefully we have more of the same. And
yeah, I think that this season will. I think that obviously with some new drivers coming in as well, which we will touch on later, as people in front of me start to dive for the pit lane.
Yeah.
That we will have maybe some more people up front, or maybe some tight battles near the back. Obviously there are some surprises, I think, that we will see next season. But that will be touched on soon. Obviously, the next team that we head on to is Force India, which has an entirely new drive lineup again for next season. I believe that is in the shape of Ace, Hasnain, and Caribbean Plus, or whichever fruit-based drink you decide to call it.
Yeah, I mean, that's also going to be an interesting pairing. I mean, Hasnain again showed some pretty good pace last season. Where did he finish? He finished 18th, but of course he didn't start during the races. He only joined us from Spa onwards.
I think the Force India management is going to have a very difficult time there, because I think those are two very, very closely matched drivers.
Yeah, we certainly saw them mixing it up a few times.
Yeah, I think they're going to be very close on track, and that could play a part. Some interesting strategies going on there. But if they work together, I reckon we could be seeing some top 10 finishes from them.
Indeed. My only concern, because I know Hasnain's quite dedicated, but the only other concern is, Phantom Fruit Twist, whether or not he will be at all of the races, because of course last season he only raced with us twice. Capri-Sun really set the world alight, let's put it that way, with his finishes. Finishes of 13th and 8th. So hopefully he'll be wanting a bit more from this season.
Yeah, I reckon they'll be okay. I think that they've got potential to work together well, and obviously because they're both evenly matched, you sort of have an understanding of where each other can improve. Whereas if you have two very different drivers, what's easy for one is not always easy for another. So I reckon they'll be able to work together absolutely fine this coming season. And they will have some very strong finishes. You always rely on luck of incidents in front of you, which there will no doubt be.
Yeah.
I reckon you could see them being in the top 10 next season from race to race. But not always the same one.
Slight issue though. Because they're quite evenly matched, we might get an actual replay of real life Force India. Well, we hope not, because those two are always crashing into each other during the races. Hopefully we don't see that with these two.
That would be disappointing, but great fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, that would be quite fun to watch.
And then obviously, if they can finish, we move on to another country, which is Sweden.
Yep, and the Toro Rossos.
The two Toro Rosso pair, obviously they've moved directly over from Haas from last season. Same driver lineup, the two brothers.
Yep.
And I actually think these two will be the surprise of next season, personally.
Do you? I know, certainly Thomas, I've heard from pre-season testing that he's improved quite a lot. As for his brother, not entirely sure, because I haven't heard much about him in pre-season testing. All he needs to do is finish a race, particularly.
Yeah, his finishing ratio last season was very poor, and it'll be something that they need to work on. Perhaps getting out of the Haas, which I've heard is not the best car to drive, will help them out there.
Yeah, I
but
mean
I think that they will be the surprise package of the team. I think that obviously we're so used to seeing them right at the tail end. Towards the end of last season, Vithalman specifically very strong in Brazil, and then had a terrific finish in Abu Dhabi, which caught people's attention. Really did catch people's attention. And then there have been people pre-season racing elsewhere to a very high standard, from what I hear. I mean, keeping up with Andrew Wood, which is no mean feat, because Andrew probably can be top 5. So if that can then translate into some sort of brotherly teaching, that's why I think that they could well be the two surprise packages.
I mean, I hope so, because, I mean, there were 6 positions between the two last season, and I know I was a little harsh on Frederick towards the end of the season, but the results kind of gave me reason to. I mean,
in some cases
7 DNFs in a row.
Yeah, in some cases that was deserved. I mean, we don't like to see people just leaving and crashing.
Yeah, I want to see him do well. I do want to see him do well. I don't want to call him Mr. Useless like I did last season. I mean, obviously, if Australia starts the same way that Abu Dhabi finished, then, yeah, by all means, I'm going to be calling him useless pretty much every single race. But I hope that's not the case. I would like to see him improve quite a lot.
Yeah, and there's always scope for people to improve as well. I mean, we all started somewhere. He may well come out the blocks flying next season.
Yeah, and as for Thomas, keep up the good work, sir.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what he can do this season. I hope that if he does have a bad race in Melbourne, which has the potential to happen, but he doesn't sort of take it too much to heart.
Yeah, we do have a
few
drivers that
a lot of speed. Certainly, and a few drivers that do that brings us nicely onto McLaren and Jerry and his new teammate for this season, which I believe is the returning Taif Mahmood, SJM 1337.
Yep. Oops, I've just dropped my controller on the floor. We will forgive some of you if you don't know that name, but for some of you that have been following certainly my YouTube channel and the Race Department League as a whole over the years, would certainly recognise Saif Mahmood. He's pretty much been around in one way or another. Not sure if he's
Has
won
front running
a
pace.
championship in this.
I think he has. I think possibly 5. Season 5. Because he nearly won season 4, but he bottled it in Brazil.
Yes, he did. I do remember
right.
that. Braking on the wet line on a
Dry tyres,
drying
wet
track.
line, brake, lock up straight up.
Yep.
A rookie move for someone who, quite frankly, has as much experience as anyone in the field. It would be the equivalent of, say, Rubens Barrichello coming back. That's how much experience he's got across a variety of games. It just comes down to how much time he has to drive the cars and how much he's committed to obviously being in the league. That's a certain race winner for me. If he commits himself,
Yeah.
there is no reason why that Scythe cannot win the race. And also we've got Jerry, who a couple of seasons ago, if you remember, in Canada, took a pole position. So you've got a strong team there that perhaps hasn't been reaching their potential for a couple of years. But if they hook it all together, again, really, really strong team. Question marks over commitment. But if they both turn up, they both do well. Well, the sky's the limit for those two, I reckon.
Yep. I mean, certainly if they become quite a close driver pairing, Jerry's gonna improve a lot. Certainly if Scythe takes him under his wing. But like you said, Scythe works a lot of hours, so
and spends a lot of time posting on Instagram. So whether he's going to be able to tear himself away from Instagram away, who knows?
I mean, I hope so. I mean, I want to see him do well. Obviously, because I'm biased.
So do I. I mean, you know more than anyone else that's probably watching. The amount of battles I've had with him over the years has been tremendous. I mean, I believe
they certainly have.
You got involved in one, Silverstone, I remember.
I've been involved in quite a few, to be fair, and love them. Certainly love watching them back.
Valtteri Bottas?
Not something you hear every day.
I also know that there's actually only 19 drivers left. Oh yeah, I suppose you quit.
Yes, I did. But yeah, I certainly hope that he does well, and I'd like to see Jerry do well as well. Don't get me wrong.
I think Jerry, if he sort of talks to Mitchell, he's got a good group of sort of compatriots there, Mitchell, Cass, Martin, all work together, bring themselves up as a group effectively.
Yeah, I mean, he had his consistency was there. He just needs a little bit more pace.
He's finding a couple more tenths and then he'll be there. A couple of tenths is a really sort of impressive gain on this game, because it can catapult you 5 or 6 positions.
Yeah, we saw it a lot last season. What I like to call the Armageddon section of the race, where you'd have a pack of about 6 to 8 cars all on the same piece of track, all fighting pretty much lap after lap, and then you had Jerry just on the outskirts of that. So yeah, like you said, if he gains like another about half second, he'd be well into that pack and coming out with some very good results.
Yeah, and someone else actually who if they gained a couple more tenths that can be part of that pack, and did actually slowly start to improve in pace towards the tail end of last season, was Dark Shark Andrea, which is in the Sauber this season. Moved over from Toro Rosso and partners a new person, GR Demon, who's come to us from the very prestigious Apex Online Racing. And this is his first foray, I believe, into this race department league, and I hope he enjoys it. He's quite high in the tiers there, so I don't know what he's going to be like in terms of pace here, but certainly I've heard good things, and he might be able to well lead that team forward. And obviously with Andrea's improved performances really quite late in the season, very much like Thomas actually, the Thaumann. I think start of the season was quite rough for him, involved in quite a lot of incidents. End of the season, probably a solid tail end of the top 10 runner.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm not going to lie, I don't really follow AOR that much, so I know nothing about Ben. I know he's replaced another Ben, because of course we had Clay in the...
He was on the reserve list this season. He stepped down from a full-time drive.
Yeah, Ben Coles has stepped down to reserve. He was the other Ferrari driver partner in Gattis. But yeah, Ben Goldie. Yeah, I don't know. I'll reserve my judgment on him.
No one really knows until obviously we get a couple of races in. I'm hesitant to obviously judge anyone after the first race because something might happen at turn 1 and then suddenly the result looks a lot worse or a lot better than it really is. So I reckon you can only really judge general pace after the first 3 or 4 races. So then we've only got one more team after that.
We do.
And I believe it's an
That's
entirely
Haas.
new driver pairing.
Yes, 2 people who, again, I don't really know anything about.
Right. Again, two stalwarts of AOR. I believe both have driven with Andrew Wood over there. I believe that obviously they've seen his performances here and have been intrigued with getting involved. They've unfortunately got the Haas due to being new, and which has meant that probably car decision has not swung their way. But certainly, I believe that Bankai Bullet has got quite good speed. I've never driven before either, but these will be 2 more that we can really only make a decision over quite sort of mid-season. I think that tail end of the grid, if you look at the drivers that are on there, is going to be very close.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you on that. Like I said, I've got to reserve judgment on that one because I don't know a lot of them. But certainly, if they're from AOR, then they must have decent pace because I know they don't mess around.
They've got experience as well, and that's the key thing. The experience factor is a very important thing to bear in mind. As I fortunately come out after my pit stop in the lead of the race.
Nice driving there from you.
Verliner's
retired somewhere. Oh, he's just pulled off the track down somewhere. Rather interestingly. Oh, we do also have a Luke has gone on to the forum and posted a nice bit of gossip about how he's joined the Haas team.
Yeah, if anyone listening hasn't seen the gossip column yet, it's brilliant. It's one of the things that I love. Is creating a sort of universe within the league where we can sort of talk and take it a little bit lighter, a little bit on the lighter side, have a bit of enjoyment from it.
Yeah, I mean,
so obviously the gossip column towards the end of last season was really funny. People sort of talking about where they might be going next season, what they might be doing.
And let's not forget you getting arrested in Abu Dhabi.
In Abu Dhabi, yeah.
In Marmite.
Because obviously, second win, which really, Sean, I've got to admit, helped me out massively there.
Yeah,
that was nice.
Penalties galore.
I didn't get any from them, Brian. But obviously, now there's the drivers. We've got next Tuesday, the season starts. The season starts in earnest in here, actually, where I'm driving now, in Australia. So, for the person that's going to be watching the race, what do you think is going to happen in the race? Who do you think is going to be sort of the winners and losers over the off-season and the people to watch?
I don't know really. All I'm sort of hoping for is that the race goes slightly better than it did last season, where I didn't know that you guys had changed the rules on formation lap, because that was a bit embarrassing. So I'm hoping, on my sake, that it goes a bit smoother. As for where people are going to go, I don't know. I think obviously Mitchell and Drew are going to be up there. I mean, I know we didn't talk about Drew much earlier on when we were talking about the new Red Bull teammates. Mr. Hitler himself. Yeah, with Mitchell, another season with Mitchell, I think he's actually on form for a... Yeah, I'm going to say that Mitchell might... that Drew might even get in the podium position. If he keeps out of trouble, that is.
I personally think the top 3, as I set the fastest lap of the race quite nicely, is going to be probably... I'd hope that I'm in there, but if I'm not in there, you're going to be looking at Mitchell, you're going to be looking at Sean, And yeah, maybe Drew will sneak in there. I reckon over the off season, those two guys would work a hell of a lot together. They're probably the two people in the grid that sort of do the most teamwork together, drive together, practice together, etc. And that will stand them in good stead. Because if you get used to your teammate, you know their flaws, you know their positives and negatives, and there's no time like track time either. So the more time you get in the car on the track, the more you can sort of feel and understand. And yeah, I do agree. I also think that maybe Cass is an outsider for maybe a podium slot.
Oh yeah, you can't rule Cass out, definitely.
It's good. You go into the season and you can look at the potential drivers, and you can say any one of, say, 10.
Yeah.
You could argue could be on the podium in some way, shape, or form.
I mean, Gattis was very quick. He could be up there. Kaz could be up there. Drew could be up there. Harry could certainly be up there. Guy could be up there. I mean, like you said, loads of drivers in this league. I mean, I'm looking very forward to this season because looking at the depth of talent that we've got.
As the first race goes, and there's someone who's driven a lot of first racing time, you don't really mind if the first race is not that special. All you want to do in the first race is you want to finish. That's the aim. Get the first race under the belt, get yourself used to seeing a different type of car, get some track time, feel the conditions, and just get a race finish under your belt. Because there's nothing worse than taking all that time pre-season to go and not finish a race. It's a horrible feeling, and it really sets the tone for the rest of the season. So I wouldn't expect to see too many risks being taken, especially if it's in the drive. I would say it may even be quite processional, which is a bad thing for you, but possibly just people bedding themselves in.
Yeah. I mean, we could forgive people for doing that, because, like you said, you don't want to throw everything away in the first race of the season.
No, because if you go into the second race of the season already 25 points behind a championship rival,
it is
you've
quite
given yourself
hard
work
to
to do.
back.
Yeah, you've given yourself work to do before you even set your foot on the track.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Australia shouldn't be too bad. I mean, last season we only had 3 DNFs out of, I believe, we had a full grid. Yeah, we had a full grid for Australia, and we only had 3 retirements. So it's going to be a very, very competitive race.
The main danger of Australia is turn 1. Just due to the nature of turn 1, all the cars going in there, and the angle of it. It's a relatively fast turn 1, so not much braking happens, and that causes a problem. And because then the next turn is a left-hander, almost immediately after, any knock-on effect from what happens in turn 1 often spills into turn 2. And if that knock-on effect happens near the front, all hell can break loose.
Yeah, I mean, certainly in the... I think we had a pre-season race here. That was carnage at turn 1, with cars flying all over the place.
No pre-season races this time round. Obviously last season we had a couple just to get used to the new regulations and new cars. No need for that this time round. Straight into a new season after a week or 2 off. And got to say, feeling good. Looking forward to it. Excited for it, seeing some new faces. Seeing if anyone could take the title challenge to Mitchell. And seeing if any new teams can crop up. Still think in the back of my mind that Renault are really going to be a surprise package. I'd like to obviously say that Ferrari are going to be up there. It might take us a while. I feel like Ferrari on this is going to be the McLaren of real life. High hopes, a little bit sort of dampened spirit early on. I reckon a lot of father figuring is going to have to be happening from my side of it. But it'll be interesting. I reckon we could see a record number of podium finishes this season. I know a couple of seasons ago we had 9 or 10. I think we could break that this season. I think that it could be the highest, because you look at the grid and anyone.
We actually had 11 different podium, 11 different people on the podium last season.
Was that last season?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we'll beat that
this season. We might beat that. I'll agree with that.
Obviously, I look forward to Brian returning to us for Spa, only to disappear again.
Oh yeah, definitely, Mister. Oh,
So-
I've been doing loads
so
of
he might
practice
get
on the
podium
one
spot.
track. It was very good to see him last season for all of that 10 minutes in the forum.
We'll see another Dutchman, good friends with Mitchell and that. Brings quite a lot of pace. Brings a lot of pace actually.
When it's spot.
He had a really tough time. I think he was teammates with Martin late on in 2016 game, and struggled. I think lost the motivation, as we all did. A lot of people lost motivation, me included. But I've got the hunger back this season, and I hope that will obviously stand in good stead.
We've got 5 laps of this race remaining. We've still got quite a few people in the stream chat.
Probably worth asking the stream chat. Who did the stream chat think are the favourites for the title this season? I'll be interested to see who other people think are going to be the title winners.
I agree. Send in your answers. I'm assuming that Drew's just going to go for Mitchell, obviously, but
it's not an unrealistic answer. Certainly the champion, but the champion will carry the weight of being the champion this season, and will have the title on his back, and will be the person that everyone wants to beat. And as we saw last season, Sean will do anything he can to keep anyone behind him.
yeah, that's one thing that
champion-
we didn't. One thing that we didn't touch upon was Sean and his. Not only was he famed for his corner cutting, he was also famed for his dive bombs and his rather aggressive,
Ludicrous
defense.
defending at times.
Yeah. I remember him diving down the inside of, I think it was Tom at the Lowe's hairpin at Monaco, and that was a bit frowned
He was
upon.
quite far back, wasn't he? He started at the back then. He started right at the back of that.
Yeah,
and
and then
had to make some interesting moves to get back through.
Oh, come on, Drew, you'll win a race this season. Loads of people say, well, a couple of people saying Andrew for the title, including his teammate, obviously. They went for each other. Hardly surprising. But yeah, I think you know, Drew, if you take Mitchell's advice and stay out of trouble, you very well
And if
could.
you think of where he improved from and to at the start and end of last season, if he makes the same jump again, he will be right there. Because he was struggling to finish top 10 at the end of last season. Well, beginning of last season, sorry. And then at the end, comfortably, probably top 5 by the time.
Yeah.
So if he makes that same jump, he could well win races. I think the title for now is a little bit out of sight for him, especially when Mitchell is there as well. And it remains to be seen whether Toto will stick to his no number 1 driver rule. But I think that, Drew's certainly got a lot of ability and will show people what he can do. He was very, very fast in 2016. And like myself, quite disappointing at the start of last season in terms of speed. I know that as we share the same manager, a lot of discussions took place of how we can improve it and go forward, and I think we've both done that. So yeah, certainly I think Drew can win this next season. We're interested to see if there is anyone on the screen, if they've got any questions they'd like us to answer. Maybe any opinions on something, or even in real F1, whether they'd like us to answer any of their questions.
Okay, immediately. Oh, look at that. The teammates already with some questions. Mitchell, question for Mikey. Was the Red Bull really that bad, or was it your setup?
Possibly a combination of both. I think that the cars are majority equal, but I've heard a lot of people say that how you drive them affects them in different ways. I think that at the start of the season, for sure, it was my setup, because I didn't know what I was doing. Tail end of the season, obviously, we saw a little bit of an improvement, and even just driving this Ferrari now, it feels a lot better. But we will wait to see if I have the same problems. But obviously, my teammate in AOR didn't have the same problems because he won the championship in the Red Bull. So it might well have just been. You will find out this season pretty early.
question for me from Drew. How many times did I pull over for Mitchell last season? At least 2. You know, you can try and lie as Palmer and Strong go side by side with each other. I'd say at least 2.
I don't know. I can't answer that question on your behalf, unfortunately, because Mitchell was either miles ahead of me or Drew was miles behind me. So I was never close enough to be near them.
Oh, a bit of contact there between Palmer and Strong down the straight. Don't know what happened with Van Dorn, but he messed something up. Alonso side by side with Kimi Raikkonen. Oh, sorry, Van Dorn and Raikkonen side by side. That's interesting. How is Massa on the podium in this race? Well, like Mikey said, all the cars are set to equal. So, as you can see, we've got our own Armageddon section. Raikkonen, Van Dorn, Alonso, Kvyat, Perez, Grosjean, and Hulkenberg glued together, and I'm not even joking.
I did see something around turn 1 when I was going up towards the flash chicane. There was just a lot of cars stuck together, and there they are there.
Like a train.
I hope that will be something we see a lot of this season, I think, as I back the car into turn 3. The famous turn 3.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, more questions from the stream chat. As Ricardo passes Hamilton down into turn 1. Mitchell, Mikey, what is your best skill in driving and your worst? Well, I think I can answer your worst question for rear grip.
Yeah, setting the car up for controlling the rear end, even on 2016 with completely different cars, I never used to be able to do it. My greatest skill used to be my ability in the wet, but even that seems to have disappeared on this new game. But that might be a setup thing as well. So currently, I actually think my ability to get the starts, my starts last season were unbelievable.
Yeah, they were. You did 90.
For someone who can't get traction out of slow corners, I could get the traction off the line perfectly fine.
No steering lock, is it?
Yeah, that's possibly it. Nothing to worry about. Standing start.
Should Caribbean Crush change his name to Pink Lemonade now he's in a Force India?
Very good question. I think we should probably put it to ask his advisors.
I mean, I'd say that he should, but then again, I'd probably still end up calling him Fan Fruit Twist and all of that sort of stuff. Although I will try not to say that this season.
Yeah, you got all of it out in the preview show. That's fine. Caribbean Crush. Although they are sponsored by Hype, which I believe is an energy drink, so maybe there's a problem there. I do seem to remember British Touring Cars a long time ago. A guy called John changed his name to John B&Q for sponsorship. So maybe that can be what Caribbean Crush can do as well.
Another question for everybody asking you questions. Probably had enough of me fucking talking. Whoops. Percentage likelihood of you getting iRacing after you get pissed off at this game?
Very low.
Drew.
Percentage until I move in to my new house, very next to none.
Into his slag pad.
Into my driving den. As I come across the line here, it's like a very easy victory actually, considering I qualified second last. It's something I would look into. I've been watching a lot of iRacing. If you didn't realise earlier on, my comments about iRacing being an arcade were completely in jest. But right now, obviously, I only have a laptop, so I won't have the ability to play iRacing properly. As I'm joined by Massa and Sights, obviously, the two famous podium sitters. I think that at the end of 2018, the likelihood is going to be around 80%.
Oh, can't wait for that. I'd love to have you over on the iRacing side. Ooh, another question. What do you think about driving standards and how can we improve it?
Driving standards is a very difficult one because the game, by its very nature, does not bode well for small pieces of contact, and with the lack of slipstream and dirty air, a lot of the passes that you need to do are not even 50-50 at times. They're very much dive bombs, which anyone who's seen Sean passing any car will tell you. So I don't think they're deliberately bad driving standards, but I think that people are taking greater risks because of the nature of the game and the physics involved. Whereas 2016, because there was less grip, you didn't have to worry about diving so much because you could get slipstream. There was less grip. You could sort of cut back on cars easier. As I just get a trophy for asserting dominance. Don't know what that's for.
Hey!
And also the 1% club. I've got the 1% club. Not quite the mile high club, but there we go. So I don't think driving standards are as deliberately bad as sometimes they seem. But I'd like them to improve nonetheless. I think that sometimes you've got to accept that the game is the game.
Yep.
And you can't get around that. And sometimes you've just got to be a little bit patient. Perhaps last season I was guilty of being too patient. I recall Bahrain. I was sat behind Tom for...
You were indeed.
An endless number of laps. Because I didn't want to make that dive bomb move, because I didn't want to make the contact. And sometimes you've got to. And sometimes when you do that, you will end up with an incident. Obviously, the stewards deliberately do understand that those moves have to be made due to the nature of the game, and will be a little bit lenient. But in some way, sort of some situations, a little bit of care and attention is needed, especially on the first lap, because you can't win anything on that bomb, but you can certainly throw it away.
Yeah, we did have a lot of first corner sort of incidents, first lap incidents, which I hope we will lessen, let's say, this season. But yeah, for the same points that you basically brought up, the game's going to put you in
see a lot more of them
like that.
You see a lot more of them than I do as well, because from where I sit, I can only see forward and back, whereas you can see sort of across the grid, so you'll understand what causes them greater than I do from a driving perspective.
I just think it's haste more than anything else, to be fair. Yeah, there's a lot of drivers out there that seem to need to squeeze their way
make the move
through
and make
gaps
the move
and
now.
stuff. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm gonna spend another lap and lose like 18 seconds if I don't pass this guy now, kind of thing. Not always the case. Obviously, sometimes, if anybody remembers the name of Theo in this league, if you didn't pass him immediately, you were
really good defensive driver.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, if you didn't pass him, then you were getting stuck, and I just think that a lot of the drivers in the league sort of need to calm down from that sort of a feeling. I think the last question we got was who will get the most pole position, which I think is, if we're following on from last season, probably got to be Sean.
I also think Sean,
because he got 6.
Yeah, I think Sean as well. Mitchell
had no poles at all. He had none.
Yeah, but he's very quick over one lap, so obviously makes the most of the race situations and got him a title. But yeah, I agree with Sean. I think that Sean's going to be quite comfortably the guy that wins the poles next season. Also, potentially Harry.
Well, Drew thinks it's going to be you.
I'd hope it is. Don't get me wrong. I want it to be. Just my one lap pace right now isn't there.
Right. So final point. Your season 10 champion.
Ooh, a season 10 champion. I'm going to go for something that hasn't been done before, and that Mitchell's going to retain.
That's a good point, actually. I can't think back till maybe the Tom period at the very, very, very start of this league, that we had anybody that retained the title.
No,
actually, to be fair, he didn't even retain the title, did he?
No, we haven't.
Yeah,
so it'll be the first time ever. And yeah, I think Mitchell's got it. He's got the speed on the game. He's got the time on the game, and he's got a teammate that will push him. And I think that he will be helped out by incidents behind him as well. So yeah, my champion for this season will be Mitchell. I don't want it to be, don't get me wrong, I want it to be me. But I think it will be him. Who do you think?
That's a tough question. I might be inclined to join you on that one. I was going to go with Sean, but given Sean's lack of staying on track properly and getting penalties during races, which obviously cost him positions, yeah, I think it's going to be Mitchell, because
that'll cost
he's
him
had some
more
consistency.
this season.
Yeah.
That'll cost him more this season as well, because I think that the front of the grid's going to be a little bit tighter. So losing that 6-9 seconds is going to cost him the positions.
Oh, and the last question: what do you think of Michael joining as commentator? I think you've already expressed your thoughts on that, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I think that it will be good, and obviously you've got someone there that's experienced, knows the game, is very good at the game, extremely good at the game, but also knows the league and knows you as well. So we'll be able to provide a lot of expert insight alongside your terrific colour commentary, quite frankly. But obviously you're the one that's working with him, so it really counts as to how you feel about Michael joining you.
Yeah, I'm quite happy. Obviously, I wasn't sure I was going to do this myself, but I will obviously try and make as many as I can, just like he will. I think it should be an interesting dynamic, and certainly there's a lot to feed off of, given the fact that he was our championship leader until he retired partway through last season. He's a quick driver. He knows how to make these cars tick, unlike me, because obviously I don't really drive these that much, only on the PC side do I, well, even though I haven't driven for a while. So yeah, I think it's going to be good being able to feed off of that knowledge of just exactly what's happening on the track and why cars are behaving in the way that they are. So yeah, we're getting more questions now than we did during the race. Mikey, can you expand on our further news on the written/multimedia, and who is taking that on?
And who asked that question? Sorry?
Drew.
So this season, the media will come in two different aspects. So we will obviously have yourself and Michael doing the commentary and verbal media. However, also for this season, we have Harry and Milos, the former sort of organiser, taking care of the written side. So what will happen there is they, along with myself adding questions into the pre-race threads, every 4 races or so, they will do a recap, and they will just recap everything that's happened. They will also deal with things like the gossip threads, so they will be creating the gossip with that, and they will be doing any written media, which obviously you see dotted around, posters, articles. As you may remember, how he fleetingly last season did race write-ups, and this was sort of to expand on that, to not give them too much to do, but to at least allow them something. So they're going to be race write-ups every sort of 4 or so to recap what's happened, big movers, big events, and things like that.
So yeah, season 10 of this league certainly looking to be the best yet and the biggest yet. I mean, we've got our most competitive looking lineup. Oh, for God's sake, every time I try and close off this stream we get another question. What are your thoughts about banning the racing line? Is there a moment that the league will be without any assists? From Mitchell.
My opinion on banning the racing line, I was fully for it. Obviously we had some problems with some people who weren't for it. I don't think it's an assist in respect of it aiding the driving, but I think it takes a lot away from the immersion. Obviously, sitting with people that used it, a lot of the problem with the racing line is that you drive eyes down rather than eyes up, because you're focused on the line rather than the apex and things around you. So I don't think it's an assist, I think it's a hindrance, personally, which is why I'm for getting rid of it. In terms of having it completely assist-free, not right now, but possibly if we get a lot of sign-ups and a lot of interest over time, we might expand into having, if you remember, the no assists league from the other side.
Yes.
Maybe having a dedicated league which runs absolutely nothing, and then a league below that which has a couple of options available.
Yeah, that would certainly be good to see for, say, season 11 of this league. Obviously, when I'm assuming season 11 is going to be out with 2018.
I would expect.
I'm assuming.
So. Yeah.
So yeah, back to my point that I was before I got interrupted. This league certainly looks to be bigger than it, better than it ever has been. Obviously, it's going to be a pleasure being part of it and watching you guys race every week, and it'll be a pleasure for me to bring that to you guys watching as well. Yeah, it's going to be fun, and obviously this all starts next week for the Australian Grand Prix. 8 o'clock, so basically the same time that it started last season, for those of you that have carried on watching. Races streamed live here, and the reruns will be on YouTube. Although I am sort of toying with the idea of a VOD going up on the Twitch channel as well, maybe partway through the week. Not sure yet. May or may not do that, I don't know.
Something to look into.
Definitely something to look into. My voice is starting to disappear now, so I think this is
I've been waiting for this moment for years.
Go fuck yourself. I think this is as good time as any to end the stream. I'd like to thank everybody that has watched this one and commented in the stream chat, even though most of you are part of the league anyway. Like I said, if you want to watch this... We've got to
start somewhere.
Yep, if you want to watch this back, obviously, feel free to do so. I will be uploading this to YouTube as soon as the stream finishes.
What's your YouTube channel?
It is youtube.com/thephenomf1, and obviously this one, twitch.tv/tbrpirate. So the races are going to be coming to you on both of those platforms. Obviously, if you watch this on the YouTube channel, links to the league will be down in that description of those videos. If you do want to come and race or be involved in the league in some way. So yeah, any final words, Mr. Woolford?
No, I'm just really excited to get the season obviously going. Really excited to see the new guys coming in, see how they adapt to the league, seeing who improves, seeing who declines, and just having a really good racing experience and a really good community feel, as I feel like we have already with the adaptation of the verbal and written media. I think it's going to be absolutely tremendous next season, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to it.
As am I. So yeah, it's time to end. On behalf of Mikey and myself, thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you next week when the season starts. Next Tuesday, 8 o'clock, the Australian Grand Prix on the Twitch channel and the YouTube. So until then, take very good care of yourselves, and we shall see you then.
Have a terrific week. Goodbye.